Last night, the Indiana Fever found themselves in the spotlight once again. What was supposed to be just another game on the schedule quickly turned into a storyline packed with highs, lows, and yet another reminder of just how fragile their season has become. It started with Kayla McBride, who reminded everyone why she's now a 5-time All-Star. She controlled possessions early, showing her trademark efficiency. But the real twist came when Lexi Hull stepped into the spotlight.
McBride was an all-star for the 5th time in her career as Boston goes backdoor to Hull, working on Williams. Hull gets it to go, and a foul.
Career high for you tonight. How'd that first half feel, especially with 18 and just 20 minutes of play?
I mean, it obviously feels good, I think, for me, just playing with confidence. We're missing people, so everyone's got to do a little bit extra, be a little bit more aggressive offensively. So that was my mindset going in, and obviously it feels good to see the ball go through the net.
With Aaliyah Boston feeding her on a sharp backdoor cut against Minnesota's Williams, Hull converted through contact, picking up a bucket and a foul. It was the kind of play that set the tone for what was coming. A career night for the young guard. By halftime, Hull had already racked up 18 points in just 20 minutes, stunning everyone with her aggressiveness. She played with confidence, reading the defense, cutting hard, and knocking down open shots.
Second All-Star appearance was right here in Indianapolis back in July. Oh, looking inside for Boston. She will launch and knock down a 3. Lexi Hull's hit a pair. Yeah, end of that game, but foul line continues to flummox Smith here this year. Here's Hull backdoor, puts on the brakes and lay it in. It's a Lexi Hull show here.
Hull's performance wasn't just a highlight, it was a lifeline. The Fever were already missing key players and they needed someone to step up. And for a half, Hull carried that burden beautifully. But as has been the story too often this season, what started with promise quickly unraveled. The Fever surrendered a massive third-quarter run to the Lynx. And as if that wasn't enough, they lost 2 more players to injury, Chloe Beebe and Odyssey Sims. That added to an already brutal list of absences: Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, and Ari McDonald. By the end of the night, the Fever were staring at a rotation gutted beyond recognition.
Lexi, did you come into tonight kind of expecting to play darn near the whole game just with the injury situation and the personnel available?
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. What did you play? 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
Yeah. For you offensively, was the plan to kind of try and get some looks inside early to get yourself going and then start working from the outside, or was that just kind of how the game set itself up?
Just to read the defense, you know. I think I got some really good passes on the back cuts, and that's a testament to my teammates, you know, finding me, but keep moving, just reading whatever they're given.
That makes 6 rotation players unavailable. For any team in a playoff race, that's devastating. For a Fever team already hanging on by a thread, it was catastrophic. Yes, there was resilience on display. Players fought, the bench stayed engaged, and Hull in particular looked fearless. But the resilience was overshadowed by the frustration of yet another collapse and the reality of a roster falling apart piece by piece.
And in Chloe Bibby's absence, you'll likely see a lot of Turner on the floor here today as Lexi Hull launches and hits. It's a 3-point parade going in. Here is Hull. Look how aggressive Lexi Hull has been here in the first half. That was her 8th shot. Lexi Hull with all the confidence in the world. Petty, wide open. Oh, yes!
Coach Stephanie White did her best to highlight Hull's assertiveness, praising her for hunting shots and stepping into a bigger role. And Hull herself admitted she knew the team needed her to be aggressive given how short-handed they were. But behind the words, the questions lingered. Why does this team keep giving away leads after halftime? Why do the same problems repeat without clear adjustments? And more importantly, how much longer can this team survive the storm of injuries?
16 in the first half for McBride. Hull catch and shoot, knocks down another. 18 for Hull. That is a new season.
For context, Hull finished with 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting, including 4 of 7 from 3, in nearly 37 minutes on the floor. It was the most complete offensive performance of her young career, and it didn't come in garbage time when the game was already lost. These were points that mattered, keeping the Fever competitive early against a Minnesota team stacked with depth and playoff experience. Her confidence was evident from the jump. Early threes fell cleanly. Backdoor cuts opened easy looks. She attacked in transition. She looked less like a role player filling minutes and more like a legitimate offensive option.
Lexi Hull tonight, career high for her, just especially effective there early on. What were you seeing from her performance?
She was aggressive. I mean, she was hunting shots. She was aggressive to the rim. You know, she knew we needed another scorer on the floor, and because of the attention that Kelsey and AB get, she was getting free and she was hunting shots, and that's what we're going to need from her.
Indiana leaned on her heavily and she responded. She didn't just score, she created space, forced defenders to rotate, and gave the team an emotional lift when it needed it most. But one player's breakout can't patch over a roster this depleted. By the second half, fatigue set in. Rotations tightened. And then came the injuries. Chloe Beebe, who had only recently joined the roster, was held out after feeling knee soreness during warm-ups, a precaution but costly nonetheless. Later, Odyssey Sims, the only veteran point guard left standing, exited in the fourth quarter and never returned, awaiting further evaluation.
Just obviously Chloe Bibby, a late addition to the injury report. Just when did that injury happen, or do you know the severity at this point?
Felt something during pregame, and so holding her out as a precaution. We don't know anything, so hopefully we'll get some more information tomorrow when she can be seen.
Had she been dealing with any soreness or anything like that in previous days, the week leading up to tonight?
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with soreness at this point in the year. But yeah, I had been dealing with a little bit of knee soreness, and again, just want to make sure that we're cautious and figure out what's going on before she gets out there.
That meant Hull was suddenly the only natural wing available. Lineups had to be thrown together on the fly. Guards were shifted into uncomfortable roles, and front court players like Brianna Turner and Nalissa Smith were forced to cover more ground than usual.
What do you know about Odyssey after I think she left the game and didn't return? Is she injured? What's up with that?
Yeah, no, we don't know anything yet. She's going to get evaluated tomorrow, so we'll see.
With regards to Odyssey, do you have any ideas of what it was she tweaked? Was it a groin or any?
I have no idea. I just heard her say I need a sub, and so I got Shay up there.
The ripple effects were obvious. By the third quarter, possessions broke down. Ball movement stalled. Passes arrived late or at bad angles. Aaliyah Boston fought for position inside, but without clean entry passes, her presence was neutralized.
Still think you want to play Lexi 40 minutes. How can you handle the wing without Chloe tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do it by committee. Bree Turner can guard 5 positions, so she'll be out there defensively. We've got to try to manipulate lineups a little bit more to figure out who we can stretch the floor with. So probably on the floor at the same time as Dee Dee in a lot of things that we do. But again, if it's not going to be space in the floor in the half court, we've got to be able to get our defense to create some offensive transition opportunities. That doesn't always have to be steals for scores, but we've got to get missed shots that allow us to get out, run out, and try to create some things in transition.
White admitted afterward that trying to integrate 2 new point guards mid-season has left the offense disconnected. Plays that once flowed with Caitlin Clark at the helm now ended in rushed jumpers or turnovers, and on the defensive end, things weren't any better. Heavy minutes wore players down. Rotations lagged. Minnesota smelled weakness and pounced.
Oh my goodness, I was taken back. It was fun. It was funny. I was very humbled. I was grateful for my group. I love the people I play with, and to know that they would go out their way to make something like that happen for me, it means a lot more than people know, because I have been here the longest. I have, everything that people talk about, I have been, and to know that my teammates kind of like see me as, I have value somewhere, and I feel like they make me feel like, I'm important to them and vice versa. And so that value means everything to me. And anybody knows me, I'm a loyal type person. And so I'm going to forever look at them like forever friends after something like that.
That third quarter was the backbreaker. Indiana entered halftime with momentum, only to be outscored 32-7 in the third frame. What had been a close game flipped completely with the Lynx seizing control in minutes. Fans watching were left asking the same question they've asked all season. Why can't the Fever adjust after halftime?
But she has managed everything so well, and not only the players resilient, but she's been resilient.
And so too is Kelsey Mitchell, who knocks down
in transition.
Austin and Carlton collide. No whistle either way. Mitchell fires away.
White pointed to turnovers, fatigue, and a lack of detail, acknowledging that championship teams play sharp for 40 minutes while her group is still learning. But for many fans, patience is thin. Injuries explain part of the problem, but not the recurring pattern of second-half collapses.
In first place in the league. The only team that has already clinched a spot in the playoffs, assuming there's others. And McBride just reads it and eats it up.
Mitchell launches and knocks down a three. It's Mitchell's fourth.
Still, even with the loss, there were bright spots. Hull's breakout was one. Kelsey Mitchell's leadership was another. Mitchell once again proved why she's the engine of this team. She poured in 27 points, hit 5 of 7 from deep, and dished 5 assists. Even with Minnesota throwing everything at her, she kept the Fever within striking distance as long as she could.
Here's Boston backing her way inside, spins, fades, fires, and hits. Well, rebound a moment ago from Jessica Shepard. Third quarter, they are shooting 61% on the night. Boston pulls down the offensive rebound, and Indiana...
Before the game, her teammates wore MVP Kelsey shirts to honor her. For a franchise searching for stability, Mitchell remains the closest thing to a constant.
Mitchell in the second half, and that overtime.
Well, we know she can heat it up.
Oh, Petty shaking off Carrington, and she hits her first shot with the Fever. It's a corner three, and Indiana's opened up 4 for 5 from the three-point. Fever on the night are shooting 69%. Look at Turner running the floor like a guard. Kick out Petty. Oh, yeah!
Post-game, Mitchell admitted the gesture meant a lot, saying it made her feel valued, and she backed it up by playing like the most important player on the floor. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston delivered another steady performance with 15 points and 6 rebounds. While her defense wasn't as dominant as some expected, her consistency mattered. She anchored the paint, battled for boards, and gave Indiana at least a chance against Minnesota's size.
Mitchell slicing through, handoff Boston, who lays it in.
Kelsey Mitchell has to make decisions right now.
The field, they're 9 of 21 from the three-point line. Boston spins inside, and she's got back-to-back buckets.
And then there was Shea Petty, the hardship signee who had barely practiced with the team before being thrown into action. Somehow, she looked ready.
Both Hull and McBride are slow to get up on the other end. It's 4-on-4. 2 more for Boston. Petty looking inside, finds Hull. Boston, deep position, 2 more!
Petty scored 10 points on 3 of 4 shooting from deep, providing an unexpected spark. She wasn't perfect. Running the offense showed her inexperience. But her willingness to shoot with confidence gave Indiana something extra. Together, Hull, Mitchell, Boston, and Petty gave fans moments to cheer for. But the larger issues overshadowed the highlights. Indiana's lack of depth showed up everywhere. Fatigue led to late closeouts. Offensive sets devolved into isolation. Minnesota punished every mistake, and Indiana had no counterpunch.
The lulls that you obviously mentioned just now, and how you guys want to make those lulls obviously not
Shorter.
as bad. Just what can the team do on the floor? What can you guys as a coaching staff do in the moment to kind of break those up?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's timeouts. Some of it's substitution matchups, although we don't have a lot of those. And some of it's just attention to detail. I mean, championship teams, their attention to detail throughout the course of 40 minutes is there for the most part. And we're learning how to do that.
The post-game message from White was about heart and culture. She praised her team for fighting, for refusing to fold despite the injuries and setbacks. And there's truth in that. This group hasn't quit. But effort alone doesn't win games when the roster is stretched this thin and adjustments keep falling short.
Our players bust their ass. Like, they battle every single game. And they just... It's a couple minutes here and there. You got to play a 40-minute game. But this is a special group of women, man, with what they've been going through and everything that they've had to continue to overcome, and to put ourselves in position. It could have been real easy to fold in that third quarter when they broke it open. To put ourselves in position, to come back to compete to win a ball game. I mean, it's no matter what it happens, win or lose. The roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level. I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And you know, the numbers tell a story, but you know, their hearts and their character tell another one.
The standings paint the bigger picture. Indiana sits in 6th, barely clinging to a playoff spot, just half a game ahead of 7th and 1.5 ahead of 9th. Every loss chips away at their margin for error.
No matter what it happens, win or lose, the roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level, I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And you know, the numbers tell a story, but you know, their hearts and their character tell another one.
If they drop back-to-back games against Minnesota, their cushion could vanish entirely. And with Clark, Cunningham, Colson, McDonald, Beebe, and Sims all out, the road ahead looks daunting. Still, Hull's career night offered a glimpse of what could be if this roster were whole. She showed the value of player development, of someone stepping into a larger role when the moment demanded it. Alongside Mitchell's scoring and Boston's consistency, there's at least a foundation to build on. But the urgency is real. The Fever can't afford moral victories anymore. Every game matters. Every possession counts. And so the question remains, is this a coaching issue with adjustments coming too late? Or is this simply a roster too broken by injuries to be judged fairly? That's for fans to debate. But one thing is certain, Lexi Hull's career night gave everyone a reason to pay attention. As the Fever prepare to face Minnesota again, the pressure only grows. Can they translate flashes into wins, or will the season slip away under the weight of injuries and missed opportunities? Only time will tell.